See. All right, good evening. So I am here with Elder Hatcher. He's in Germany and I'm in Waycross. And he's not able to be live during the cultural night, so we are pre-recording this for you all. So Elder Hatcher, tell me a little bit about what you've noticed special about the food over in Germany. Like what food is different, or what, what's your favorite?
Okay, so what they tell you about sauerkraut's true. They eat it a lot. They eat a lot of potato-based things. Eat a lot of like sauerkraut and like red cabbage. There's been a lot of red cabbage. And one type of food that's really, really popular here, and I've heard has gotten into Utah to some extent, but it's from Germany, but it's like from Turkey, is this thing called döner. And döner, there's like döner shops like everywhere, all the time, like on most places, most like city blocks. If you're in an area, you can get to a döner shop pretty quickly. What döner is people. They have columns of meat, giant meat cylinders. They take the meat, they'll put it into like a little Turkish taco, like pita bread, but like Turkish taco, with like red cabbage and like lettuce and a bunch of other stuff in there and like some nice sauce. You eat it, or you can get like a taco sort of thing. So like they call it dürüm, and it's like a cylinder shape, kind of like a burrito. And you can also get donut boxes, because the döner is just the meat really, and like with fries and stuff in a box.
So if you were walking up to a restaurant and that's what you wanted to get, what would you say to the person to get just the typical, like what all the missionaries prefer? Like what would you order?
Yeah, so here especially, I found out my companion right now, Elder Shield, he's kind of a döner like critic, not critic. He's like connoisseur, right? And so he like is only talking about how great the Berlin stuff. So he always goes for Dürüm. So like what you'd say walking up is you'd be like, ja, ich hätte gerne ein Dürüm. And then they'll ask you like, okay, welche Fleisch willst du? So like, which meat do you want? And then you say like Hähnchen if you want chicken. You'd say like Lamm if you want like lamb. And then they'll ask you like about the sauces. So you can say like scharf, which means spicy, die scharfe Soße, the spicy sauce, or like Knoblauchsoße, habe ich mal gehabt, like the garlic sauce I tried out last time, that's Knoblauch, stuff like that.
So have you had lamb?
Yes, I think so.
Do you like it?
I mean, I did. I don't know. All the dinner that I've had has been pretty good.
Awesome. All right, so tell me, have you noticed anything different about family life in Germany versus American families? Like, what's it like?
So for one thing, and this is what I've heard, I haven't so much seen it as much as I've heard it from my German companions so far, but it's a really common thing for the whole family to eat lunch together. So dinner isn't really the main meal, the biggest meal. Normally, if you're gonna eat a warm meal, it's gonna be for lunch. And so that'll be like your big warm meal. It's like during school, they have a lunch break that's like an hour. They go home, eat lunch with their family, and go back to school. And all the people who work who don't have a family will also do that. And so like normally breakfast and dinner will just be bread. It'll be, so they call it like Morgenbrot, like Frühstück, breakfast, and then like Abendbrot instead of just Abendessen.
Awesome. That is different. Here, pretty much everybody eats lunch at school, and even if you're at work, you either go out to eat or you take your lunch with you. Very few people like go home to eat lunch. Mm-hmm. So what about church? Is church the same in Germany, or is it a little bit different?
So church is basically the same now. Of course, with Corona, it's who knows what it's really like. And all of the wards do it differently as far as like what they do, just how they do it differently in America. Some of them do, cups with the bread in it. Some of them, like the ward here in Bielefeld, they have this like flat metal plate thingy that they use to distribute the bread, pass the bread. So you can see on it from the side and stuff like that. So it's everything spread out in the pieces. And in Minden, we did the same thing which we had done in Waycross, which is with the tongs and having the deacons do it that way. Besides that, it's been more or less the same. One thing though that I have sort of noticed is pretty, I mean, I don't know how common it is, but in both wards that I've been in so far, well, the branch, and this now the ward, have had actually really talented, like trained organ players that are just members of the ward who do the organ. So like they do the whole foot thing to whatever, all the stuff. And actually then this ward, they have really nice camera setups. It seems like they've gotten a really nice camera setup. So like they've got like one camera that moves around, and they've also got like another angle camera that's kind of off to the side, like where the stairs are up to the place. Because like all the ward buildings are like they're LDS ward buildings. So like
Yeah.
they're still like the same setup, and they still got all the things, but then they have these like other angles and stuff like that. And then also they use the main one that points straight to the speaker here in Bielefeld to also point the guy playing the organ, because right now we're not allowed to sing. So they show that on a screen with like the words of from the hymnal in there, because also we don't have the hymn books.
And you said, I mean, have they started doing this? I know when you were in Minden, you told me they were going to start having it where people could participate actively through Zoom, like a speaker could be giving the talk from home, but everybody in the chapel is able to see it. Have they started doing that where there's the screen so people could participate from home that way?
So Minden did it, but so far I haven't seen it be done in Bielefeld. They've got like the projector that they normally would use for like general conference and stuff like that, where they have some parts of their Zoom thing. Now they normally turn it off for the speakers because the speakers are right there in front of us. But for the Zoom, they've got like a little waiting thing that counts down to the next sort of meeting, the next part of it. So like how they do it here is they do the first hour, the sacrament meeting in one block, and like half an hour later they do the second hour meeting. But like in Minden, they did it on Thursday evenings, the second hour. So it just depends on how the ward itself or the branch itself wants to figure it out.
Awesome. So it seems like you're in the Relief Society room there at the chapel in Bielefeld. Will you tell us about the quilt? Obviously you didn't make the quilt, but based on your understanding of what it's talking about, maybe you could stand up and like show us the different words or translate what's on the quilt behind you.
Yeah, so I'll get out of the way. I'll move. There's of course a cross stitch.
Yeah, I think it's cross stitch.
Right? Cross stitch of Jesus. And then here are the quotes on it. It's got a quote. I don't know what it's really quoting, but I assume it's some Relief Society history thing. So it says, Jesus, when I only think on you, my heart fills with joy, or something like that. And then this says, we are women of the faith, of virtue, of vision, and of charity. Which actually is a fun thing. In German, charity is just called Nächstenliebe, which means like love your next. It's like from the love your neighbor. It's just like neighbor loving, basically. And then here is this wreath, and it says FHV. FHV is what they call the Relief Society. So they actually call it by the letters most of the time. So they talk about Relief Society. It's quite a long word in German. So they say Frauenhilfsvereinigung, which is a bit of a mouthful. So instead they just say FHV, and it says here seit or since 1842, which was when it was formed.
And tell me what the FHV stands for. What does it mean in English?
Okay, so it means Women's Help Association.
Women's Help
Literally.
Association. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know how.
That, I mean, good.
I was just gonna say I don't know how much more time we have for your little portion, but I know you've had a little story to tell us in German, even though we won't know what you're saying, but just so that we can hear you speak German. And I understand it's going to be a story about a family that you went and you were maybe having a meal with them or something during the week, and this was your experience that you had.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and actually I'll say it in English just so that you guys know, because maybe it'll shine some light on church culture as well, because it's kind of funny. Church family culture is essentially the same. So we had an eating appointment with this one family. It was kind of last minute put together, but we showed up after Sunday, after and he's actually in the bishopric, this member. And so we're there with the family. They have 2 daughters and 1 son. The son's the youngest. And we're talking with the father, and he's just the most stereotypical. He's like Charlie Moore. He's like the most like LDS, like Mormon, like everything person, and he's wearing like the t-shirt and gym shorts. It's not even been like 30 minutes since church ended. He's wearing his t-shirt and gym shorts. His t-shirt's in English, and like his daughter's walking around in like a go and do t-shirt and like some gym shorts as well. And like they end up like serving us food, and it's like just like classic American food. It feels like it's like nachos, these little tortilla chips with some melted cheese on top, and like taco soup sort of stuff, like taco innards. The only weird thing to me was like the beans in it. But like I'm telling you, these are like the most Mormon people. They have Settlers of Catan in German. They have Settlers of Catan though on their like bookshelf that I see it. And like, so there's 2 really funny moments that happen. We're sitting at the table, or actually before that, we're sitting with just the father. We're talking. The kids are running around, like playing around, and one of the daughters makes to go like close, like like slide a sort of balcony door or whatever, or like the backyard door that's like glass. And it's kind of funny because he's talking to us, the 2 American missionaries, in German, and we're like doing that. And then the daughter goes to do that, and he's told us like, I've never been to America. She goes to do that, and he says, "Hey, no way." He says, "No way," in English. Like he says it to his German daughter. "Hey, no way, no way." And then later on, as we're eating, it's really funny. Like somehow the topic of kolob came up. Like somebody mentioned kolob randomly, and the oldest daughter, the one who's wearing the go and do t-shirt, right, is like, what's kolob? And the father's like, "Wait, weren't you raised in the church? What do you mean, what's kolob?" And then the mom's like, "Well, did you teach her what kolob is?" And he's like, "I thought that was your job." So then the story more or less in German. Wir waren bei einem Essenstermin, und dieser Mann, der Vater dessen, war der mormonste Mann, den ich je kennengelernt habe. Er war so Mormon. Der hatte sogar Siedler von Catan, ja auf Deutsch, aber Siedler von Catan auf dem Regal. Und das Essen, das dabei war, es war ja so Nachos mit Käse drauf und mit diesem Taco-Fleisch und alles darunter. Und das Lustigste war, also es war ja nicht mal 30 Minuten nach der Abendmahlsversammlung, oder vielleicht war es ein bisschen später, aber er hatte ja so ein T-Shirt und so Gym-Shorts dann. Er trug sowas. Und seine Tochter trug so ein Go and Do T-Shirt. Also ja, ganz Mormon. Und als wir saßen und mit ihm gesprochen haben, die Kinder so ran herum, und die älteste Tochter, glaube ich, sie wollte oder sie war im Begriff, die Tür zu öffnen oder zu schließen, weiß nicht, was sie wirklich machen wollte. Aber er sprach mit uns, die amerikanische Missionare sind. Und er sprach mit uns ja auf Deutsch. Da wir ja, okay, wir sind in Deutschland, wir sprechen Deutsch. Aber seine Tochter wollte so oder sowas. Und er meinte zu ihr, "No way, no way." Was ja sehr lustig mir einfiel. Aber dann, als wir saßen und wir aßen, irgendwie hat jemand so Collab erwähnt. Und die Tochter, die Älteste, die auch dieses ja, so Go and Do T-Shirt trug, die meinte, was ist denn überhaupt Collab? Und der Vater meinte, was, bist du nicht in der Kirche erzogen? Ich meine, und die Mutter aber erwiderte und sagte, hast du es ihr beigebracht? Ich meine, woher sollte sie es wissen? Und er meinte, ach, ich dachte, es warst du. Also, ja.
Awesome. So we'll have to, I don't know how many of the youth in our ward don't know about co-op. So if they don't know, then now is there a chance to
I
find out
mean,
more?